The school year, often a time to celebrate your child's achievements, but if a kid has struggled all year, maybe in math or reading, that 3-month summer break could really cause a parent to worry.
Yeah, it was added stress for a popular Twin Cities radio host, Julia Cobbs. You, of course, know her from the Lori and Julia show on myTalk 1071. But after doing her research, she found the answer for both of her boys was brain training at LearningRx. And TCL's Kelly Hansen has more.
Taylor Schilling, star of Orange is the New Black.
Yep.
She's on the cover of Elle Canada.
The blonde.
You've heard them on myTalk 1071 talking about celebrities, television, music, and now brain training.
And the success stories and the moms that come in with their kids and talk about, oh my gosh, everything has changed. It's so fantastic now. Why didn't I do this earlier?
Lori and Julia have a strong connection to LearningRx.
Both of my boys went through LearningRx, and it was a family project. We kind of had a lot of fun doing it. We did it one summer. It gave us purpose.
This lady right here was able to focus a whole lot more on her life when her kids were learning and really figuring things out. It just made the worry less for her as a mom.
At LearningRx, kids aren't working on that day's homework. Instead, they're getting to the root cause of the problem and training the brain. Games are sharpening those cognitive skills like auditory and visual processing.
Blue, yellow. People spend all that money on tutoring, and they're just not picking it up and getting it. But once you open up the brain and the area that isn't really functioning hitting at all cylinders, it's amazing.
Because as a parent, when you have a child who struggles, it creates a lot of tension in the home. You know, and when your child struggles with confidence, it's really hard for a parent to see that, especially those kids who are really bright, but they just can't seem to kind of pull it together academically.
LearningRx Executive Director Rich Frieder says this program helps kids become more independent and strengthens their focus.
And what happens is a parent winds up having to step in and help, and they don't really want to have to do that, and the child doesn't want them to do that.
Because what do we remember from school? And that's a hard thing.
Oh yeah, when you get to middle school and you're switching classes and all, it's really hard, right? And so it creates this tension, and kids struggle to do it on their own, and parents feel the need to have to.
And what happens here sticks.
I'm gonna do it one of these days. I feel like I'm just as close.
Julia told us she's going to do this. At some point, she's promised us she's going to go through the program.
Yeah.
Do you find that adults that have kids go through it think, maybe I need this too?
Oh yeah, we've seen a lot of parents. Well, I've had parents say several things. One is, I wish this was here when I was younger, right? But we have had parents go through the program.
Well, Kelly's here now to explain how brain training is different than tutoring.
Cool.
This is a new concept to me because I
Right.
always just think, well, if they're struggling, they just need to get tutored.
Right, they're not doing their homework. They're not bringing their school books to LearningRx and opening up the math pages. They're not doing that. So tutoring is helpful for kids maybe who've been sick a few weeks or missed many days throughout the school year. If there's been a disruption in class, maybe there's a child that is disrupting, or maybe there's construction going on in the school. Maybe there's a substitute teacher who in and out of the classroom, so there's a disruption in the classroom. And if it's been explained over and over, if the child is still not getting it, that is where brain training can really help.
Okay, okay. So tutoring may be more to fill in those gaps.
Right.
Brain training to really address an overall issue
Right.
of, I'm just not connecting these things or having a hard time remembering it.
Brain training focuses on attention, processing speed, how fast they're getting the information into their brains, working memory, long-term memory, auditory processing, visual processing, so how they're actually seeing the work on a page or on the whiteboard. So there's a lot of things happening in the brain that, like Julia said, once that's open and they can receive that information, if one of those things are weak, that's where the struggle is.
Yeah.
It's the focus, really. There's a lot of focus issues.
It was cool to see the kids how engaged they were, that
Yes.
if they are struggling, they're just getting uninterrupted one-on-one time to focus. We see kids there. Who is this for? More
So
than just kids.
yes, it's for kids. It's even for kids in preschool going into kindergarten. So I have a 5-year-old who's going to be in kindergarten in the fall, and I'm thinking, am I missing? Should I be paying more attention to how she's learning? So it's interesting. It can start as young as that. It can go into children who have ADHD, adults who maybe have ADHD, or just adults who feel like maybe, like Julia said, maybe I need this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parents that maybe think that. And also, if you have traumatic brain injury, they can help with that as well. Autism, lots of different people can be helped with brain training. And let me tell you something, when you're in these centers, it is loud, it is bustling, but that's the whole point. They want these kids to be able to focus on that one trainer who was with them from beginning to end. They're not flipping around to different trainers. And they want them to be able to focus. They want it to be loud.
Sure.
It feels distracting in there if you're not sitting down with a trainer. But all the kids I've interviewed for these, I've done this, for over a year and a half, have said, this is fun.
Well, I love too that they go through the training and then it sticks. It's not like, okay, you go through the training and then you go to the next level and the next level.
Right.
This is what it is. We fire up that brain and we get it going. Kelly,
Right,
thank you so
exactly.
much.
You're welcome.
So LearningRx is offering Twin Cities Live viewers a special price for an assessment and consultation so you can get your kids ready for the summer. Mention Lori and Julia when you call and you'll receive half off an assessment price. That means you pay $99 instead of $199. And we posted all the location details at twincitieslive.com. We also want to thank LearningRx for sponsoring the show. And thanks to Lori and Julia for being on the show. Isn't it
It was
fun?
fun having them on the show.
Oh, they're a treat.
All right, up next, more from Emily out